Alright, let's get through with the intro real quick.
Alright, we start?
As soon as you see the top slide.
Check.
Boy.
Yes, sir.
Alright, this is going to be a TOK presentation about fake news. That's just the title by yours truly. Alright, so my real life situation. The title of it is Hillary Clinton Fake News Epidemic. It was Friday, December 9th, 2016. So Hillary Clinton was speaking in public Thursday for the first time ever since losing the presidential election about a month ago. She called the proliferation of fake news an epidemic. Ever since Clinton defeat, millions have read the article Pizzagate. I'll explain that later. A false report that falsely accused Clinton and her campaign. Clinton said the spread of fake news, which had flooded the social media over the past year, is a trend that can have real-world consequences. Okay, so for my extraction, I first started off with with meme culture and Tide Pods. So my original real life situation was Tide Pods and like why people were eating them. So my first question was, to what extent can a joke be taken too far? So, but the teacher didn't really like that. So the next one is, what extent does meme culture affect people? Teacher didn't like that one either. So I have to scratch out meme culture. It's all, but later I'm just getting closer and closer to what I wanted to go to, which is misinformation. So how does wrong information hurt others was my third retry at doing it. So then now we're getting to a point where it's getting good, but we need to get the right, let's say, vocabulary for it. So that all of that brings down to my knowledge question, all connected to misinformation, which is, to what extent does misinformation hurt the validity of reliable information? So just a quick recap, misinformation is false or inaccurate information, especially which is deliberately intended to deceive other people. Hillary Clinton, how this connects to my real life situation, Hillary Clinton lost and argues against misinformation and fake news as one of the reasons she lost the presidential election. So pretty much areas of knowledge and ways of knowing, so these are going to show up into my later claims. So first areas of knowledge is human sciences, so pretty much the social aspects of human life. We got the ways of knowing, we got language, used to move people in one direction. Language can be used to do that. Emotion does impact judgment. We're going to see that later with another claim I'm going to have. And reasons, which affects someone's thoughts to reason. So, with reason you can affect someone else's thoughts. Okay, first claim, propaganda. So, misinformation. So my first claim is misinformation can be used for propaganda that can spread like a virus to make it seem like the truth. So if you didn't know, propaganda is information, especially of a bias or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. So that's how it connects to my knowledge question. So for evidence of my claim, ever since Clinton's defeat, millions have read the article Pizzagate, how that falsely accused her. So what that actually falsely accused her, it literally said that Hillary Clinton, the one that ran for president, owned a child sex ring at a pizza shop. People believe this stuff, but people actually believe this stuff. But Clinton backed this bipartisan legislation that looks to give Congress more power to respond to this foreign propaganda. So, the area of knowledge is human sciences, again, social media impact on human life, the social media impact Hillary Clinton's life and what people think of her. The ways of knowing, the language, obviously used to move people in one direction, emotion affects judgment, and reason, propaganda affecting someone's thoughts or reason. Okay. My counterclaim. So we have a claim again, which is misinformation is used for propaganda that can spread like a virus to make it seem like the truth. The counterclaim for that, if you do your research and look at the background of this Pizzagate, you can obviously tell it was obviously fake and had no reliable sources. So you could find the truth from that. But with that comes to my first conclusion. The spread of propaganda through social media hurts the reliable information from the source. Even if the misinformation is clearly fake, but it's still shown to them, they'll still believe it. Alright, next is going to be my second real life situation. So it's all going to be about the bias of sciences. So in an era of concern over fake news, a new study finds that people draw a distinction between information sources that are dishonest and those that are biased. Researchers found that a source seen as biased may lose credibility with people, and even if they believe the source is statistically honest. And I got this from Ohio State University. And then how this connects to my knowledge question, to what extent does misinformation hurt the validity of reliable information? Well, bias, actually, let's just go to my claim and I'll explain that. So, second claim, bias. Misinformation in the form of bias affects the application of ways of knowing in society. So, bias is prejudice in favor or against one thing, person, or group compared with one another. So, bias does affect information, making it misinformation. So, evidence of that, every person thinks different things based on their personal views. We all have biases because we're all human. We're not robots. So, errors of knowledge, back to human sciences, literally is human sciences, the bias of human science effect of human life. Ways of knowing, same thing. Language is used to move people in one direction. Emotion still impacts judgment, which emotion does affect bias too, if you're angry or happy or sad. Reasons. Bias affecting someone's thoughts or reason. Again. Okay. So, my counterclaim. So, my third claim, which is misinformation in the form of bias can affect the application of way of knowing in society. So, my counterclaim for that is pure raw data cannot be affected by bias. And then my evidence for that, the repetition of an experiment will give you the same answer no matter what. If you repeat and you get the same raw data, it should not change. So, in conclusion, bias can make the scientists misinterpret or misapply data to fit a personal agenda, as the scientists are also humans, and every person thinks different things based on their personal views. So bias in scientific research can lead to something wrong or society as well as humanity. Alright, so back to our real life situation 1 and 2. So first one, just a recap. Hillary Clinton speaking in public Thursday for the first time ever since losing the presidential election a month ago. She called the prohibition of fake news and epidemic. So first one is about propaganda against her. Second one, researchers found a source that has seemed biased and may lose credibility with people, even if they believe the source is honest. So second one is about biased science. So how bias can affect science data and what people think. So in my conclusion, back to our knowledge question, to what extent does misinformation hurt the validity of reliable information? I conclude that we live in a society where social media or browsers/ads likes to relate to your searches purposes, which can lead to fake news, making it hard to find the truth. These can influence our public opinion, and news are immediately available and shareable, so a lot of things can happen. The reasons people make fake news is for the spread of propaganda and then persuasion of their view. And implication for this real life situation, do your research. Don't fall in these fake pitfalls or anything. Just take everything with a grain of salt and it should be fine. But just do your research. Don't fall for this. People are evil. We live in a society. Thank you, everyone.
That was interesting.
Sources.
Sources.
I am
Good job, Tom.